Hello my fellow book nerds. In this video I'm going to show you my single reading list, if that makes sense. Pretty much books that are single, that are not part of a series, because sometimes you literally just need a single read. Series can drain us, but I still love them. But here are my single reading list. Here's my single reading list. Gosh, let's try saying that 5 times fast. Okay, so the first one is The Help by Kathryn Stockett. This book, I've got to admit, I watched the movie first and I loved the movie, and when I found out that there was a book, I was like, oh, let's read the book. And I think my mom brought it to me, and it was probably one of the best reads I've ever had. It was emotional. I'm pretty sure I cried. I laughed. Not pretty sure. I cried. Book, if you want, especially now, it's probably a really good book to read, but just to realize that not that long ago things were really different, and this book is kind of like it opens your mind to how things were. And I personally love I forgot her name, Minnie. She is probably the best character in the whole book, so I think it's great. I highly recommend this book if you want a single read. So the next one is Ivory and Bone by Julie, why do they have such horrible last names? What? I can't. This book, personally, I didn't think it was going to be a good book. Like, when I saw it, I loved the cover. I thought it was sick. And then I started reading it, and I was like, oh, it's just going to be like a love story between like 2 tribes. Like, it's back in the older days where they used to hunt and all that, and they had tribes, right? So 2 tribes were going to bring like their young people together so they could meet, because some of them had just men and some of them just had girls, and they weren't going to marry anyone else, right? So they had to bring these 2 together, and the story is told from the boy's perspective, or should I say man? I don't know, to me he seems like a kid. Cole, it sounds like a very American name, I don't know, but he pretty much falls in love with this girl, but she's kind of, I don't think high maintenance would be the word, maybe stuck up, but she has high standards, so let's go with that. She has high standards, and that is a very good thing for her, but she doesn't really like him that much until slowly toward the end, where he starts liking another girl from another tribe, and there's like a massive twist at the end where you thought the girl was the evil one, but she wasn't. And yeah, I can't tell you the rest because you have to read the book, but it is a really good book. I highly recommend it. Definitely set in a different time, and it's like still like has a bit of survival in it as well, which I think is pretty cool. So highly recommend. It's not just a love story. If you want a love story, this will give you some of that. If you don't, I still recommend it. So the next one is Moriarty. This is probably one of my favorite ones, because okay, I love Sherlock Holmes, like seriously, who doesn't? But when I heard that this book, I didn't hear when it came out, but I was scrolling through Pinterest and I saw it and I was like, I have to read this book. And when I started reading it, I was like, oh, well, one, Sherlock Holmes isn't really in it, not really, but it's still like a whodunit book, whodunit. And during the whole thing, you're kind of just trying to figure out where's Moriarty, but the story in itself is still very good, and there is a massive plot twist at the end, and I was completely shocked. Like, I did not expect that at all. And one of the best ones. I highly recommend Moriarty. It's written by Anthony Horowitz, so not I forget names, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It's not written by him, it's Anthony Horowitz. Sure. But I love this book. It is amazing. It is a severely simple read, like severely simple. So highly recommend it for sure. The next one is The Princess Bride. I mean, I had to include this one. It was in my books to boost your mood, pretty much. And this is such a great book. I love the story. I love how it's told. I love the characters. I especially love the three, pretty much each person that he has to overcome. I love him. Wesley, it kind of sounds too perfect to me, but besides that fact, I think it is such a good book. I love the girl. She's amazing. She has an attitude, and she was fighting. I really like her. I think she's such a good character. She is complex. That's what I love about her. Wesley is a little, like I said, a little too perfect, but still pretty good. So overall, I love this book. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. The sad thing is I haven't even watched the movie, which is pretty bad. I should watch the movie already, but I highly recommend the book if you're looking for a very simple read. And I'm pretty sure everyone has read this book. Almost everyone, but definitely a good book. Oh, who's it written by? William Goldman. William Goldman, if you need to know. Okay, this next one is more on the fantasy, I wouldn't say creepy, but definitely a little strange. It's Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. It is a very fascinating book. I would not expect to like it. When I saw it, it was like one of the recommendations that I got, and I was like, should I? I really like Neil Gaiman. I love his stories, so I was like, should I? And I did it. I bought it. It was just like on a whim buy, and I liked it a lot better than I expected. Like, I liked this one more than American Gods. I didn't like American Gods, but this one was such a good read. It's not too gross, so that's why I thought of American Gods. I thought it was way too much, that I'm like, ugh, you can't. But Neverwhere is a really good book. It goes into the fantasy world of the underground, which is pretty sick. And you follow Richard Mayhew, I think that's how you say his last name, Mayhew, who saves this girl. And the girl is pretty much the entrance to this complex, creepy world that I love. So, oh, it's in London. I thought it was New York. It's in London. So, oh, that's even better, I think. So anyway, such a good book. I highly recommend if you want a little bit of fantasy mixed in with modern times stuff. The next one, because we have like 10 here, is Pride and Prejudice. So this is a pretty decently hard book to read. I had to have a dictionary with me when I was reading this book the first time. I was like 17 when I read it the first time, so maybe that's why. But it is such a good book. I love the way they talk, just so eloquently, and no one talks like this anymore. It's just so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. And I mean, I love Mr. Darcy. Every girl in this world wants a Mr. Darcy. So if you want a love story mixed in with a ton of insane, well, not insane, it's just a lot of love stories and a lot of conflict and a lot of prejudice. Obviously, Pride and Prejudice, pretty much the story between Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, and how they finally figured out how to get over their pride and their prejudices, especially Mr. Darcy. He had a lot of pride, so that's why I think Elizabeth was good for him. So the next one, I haven't read this one in a while, but I recall loving it. I probably should reread it, but it's not on my priority list. But it's a pretty good book and I recommend it. It's The 11th Plague. I read this when I was like 15, maybe even less. And it's in an era where pretty much the world I think there was an atomic or nuclear war, and things are just destroyed. So small things like peaches are amazing, high quality, like a high product, right? And stuff like that, and they have to try to go to this place that is like a safe haven, pretty much thing. They have little cities that are safe havens. You follow Stephen Quinn and his family, but I'm pretty sure the rest of his family dies somehow. And he ends up getting there to that place, I believe, and meeting this girl, and they still have to figure out how to, I think they end up trying to escape because of something. I don't remember it completely. Apparently he finds a girl and they pull a prank, and the prank is pranks, but the prank is pretty bad, so they end up trying not destroying, but causing a ton of chaos at that safe haven place. So it is a really good story. I highly recommend it if you want a very simple read, because this one is also very, very simple. Next one. I loved the movie. I thought it was beautiful. Like, that is the word I would use for it. I thought it was beautiful, like visually engaging. Just I was left in awe. The story in itself is a survival story and very good. It's the life of Pi. Now, a lot of people have different opinions on this book and on the story, and especially on the movie. Well, there's Pi, or his name's it's like not Pi, but they call him Pi because he can remember the number Pi. But his father is a zookeeper, and they're like moving from India to, I don't remember where, but they take a ship, and the ship ends up going down. If you don't know like the basics of the story, he ends up sinking. The ship ends up sinking, and he's the only one that survives, and he's on a little mini boat with 5 other animals. A tiger, I think it was a bamboo, a zebra, and 2 other ones that I can't remember. And slowly the tiger starts killing off all the other animals, and he's left alone with a tiger on a little boat. And it's full of suspense, full of trying to survive, obviously trying to figure out how to go, where to go, and it is a very good book, I must admit. And during the whole thing, it takes you through what you would go through if you are suffering from dehydration or hunger and all that. So it is very hallucinogen, I would say. Okay, my last one, and the one I love this book, and pretty much I recommend anything by this writer, Michael Crichton. I have like a ton of his books right here. But my favorite, well, it's not my favorite one, definitely not, but it is a really good one, and it's Gigantea. I honestly thought when I first got it that it was gonna kind of be like Jurassic Park or The Lost World. Not that at all. Pretty much you follow William Johnson, and this is still in the time where it was like the gold rush, and they're barely building the train tracks to get from east to west coast. And there were a bunch, coming to the west was not an easy thing. So there were 2 paleontologists who were pretty much trying to find the most fossils, or fossils in general, because trying to prove pretty much Darwin's theory. So William Johnson is not the paleontologist. He is a student that goes with one of the paleontologists, and while they're over there, the paleontologist believes that he is a spy for the other paleontologist, so he ends up abandoning him in the west, but then he ends up discovering something amazing and tries to get it back all the way to the east again, but he has to go through a ton of trials and a ton of things just to get back. And it's a pretty amazing story. I'm pretty much gonna probably read this one very soon. I'm still reading the Eragon series, or sorry, the Inheritance series, but it sounds like an amazing book. So I highly recommend all these single reads if you just need one book to get you through to whatever other series you're trying to choose. I highly recommend these books. Sometimes I prefer single reads because it's just one and then you're done. You don't have to read 7 books. Every time I reread Harry Potter, it's 7 books. I'm like, it's a lot of books, but it's always worth it. But anyway, these are all the books that I highly recommend if you want a single read. I hope you, let me know down below what are your books, your single read books that you want to share and tell me about and that you highly recommend. I'll probably add them to my reading list. I'm trying to start thinking of a fall reading list. So let me know those books before I can read them. But thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell down below. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.